Do you find yourself staring at this screen a lot? Well, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Mercenary School, where we make your mercenary great again. Let's go. I did upload another tips video. If you're interested, it's right here. Each character in Stoneshard has their own stats and also their own unique trait. Be sure to check this out for each one of them to see which one applies more to your playstyle or to the build you want to run. You can move your skills by clicking and dragging the skill to wherever you want. You can also do this with the modes and actions. You can put reloading here and shouting here. You can also do them with rest and attack, but I usually leave this here. You can also choose not to have this and just to have this menu open all the time. There are a couple quests you can easily do in the early game to get some nice experience, gold or items. And also they provide reputation for Usbrook, so I would always recommend doing them. One of them comes from the blacksmith. You're here, you say, do you have any work for me? And then you just have to get him 3 battle cleavers or homemade swords, which is pretty easy when you start killing bandits. And the other one is from the herbalist down here, which tells you to gather 3 different herbs. Do you have any work for me? Deal. So these 3 herbs are really easy to get. Usually there's an agrimony here, which is one you need. We've been lucky and there's a spearmint here, but usually I tend to find the spearmint around the map from the village. You don't even have to get out of the map. And to get flea word, you usually find it along the roads. Like this, exactly. I just went out of the city a little bit, got it, and I can come back. Finish your task and you get 2 healing salves. Always useful, you should not sell them. Finally, Ram here will tell you to find a bottle of brandy for him. He will reward you with a necklace. It's a decent necklace, but it is not worth to buy the bottle of brandy. But if you ever find one in a bandit dungeon, then you should probably give it to him more than sell it. There are 2 quests I would not recommend you do right now. You can do them later. One of them is given by Bird, which asks you to get a bison pelt and horns. And the other one is given by the tailor, who asks you to get him a bear pelt. These enemies are way beyond your level right now, and you should wait until you try to kill them. To get better gear from shops, you need to increase the reputation of that city. In Usbrook, our current standing is indifference, and we're really close to get benevolence. I know it's really hard to see, but there is a line there. Once we get to 3,000, we'll get to benevolence. This means that we will get higher quality, and you can receive an advance payment when taking up on a contract. This means that if we give in this quest, we get 150 gold from the quest, and now if we go here, you see that equipment tier can be 1 or 2. You're able to see the difference between tier 2 and tier 1 looking at the top right of the item. For instance, this spear is tier 2. This spear is tier 1. Thanks to one of you guys who left a comment in the last video, we have been able to evolve fruits to the next level. I never realized this, but you can make a fruit salad from 2 fruits and 2 berries. And it will fix a decent amount of hunger and thirst, plus give you a higher immunity boost than eating the fruit on its own. Plus it takes less space, since when you're not dying, you're managing your inventory in this game anyway. Backpacks are something you can equip on your cape's spot, and it will give you a little bit of extra inventory. I find them worth it, because I always feel like I run out of inventory, but you have to be careful with it. They give no stats whatsoever. Also, one good thing about cloaks is when you have a cloak equipped, you can only get 1 stack of wet when it's raining. To open the backpack is the same as to open the purse. You can alt click and it will open it. If you want to have a different weapon from the one that you start with, Tyrion here will always give you an extra weapon. However, be careful because the character you have chosen might not have the skill unlocked. For instance, Velmir does not have 200 swords, so I can still get a 200 sword from this guy, and I can equip it and use it, but I will not be able to use or unlock abilities until I find a teacher for this skill and pay him to teach me, or a book. So now you're all ready and set up, and you want to get your first contract. There are 3 ways of accepting a contract. There are 2 good ways, I would say, and 1 bad way. So let's see. The normal way that you will go is just talk to him, blah, blah, and then you see there's a contract here. Default way, you just accept it, you keep going, and you click I accept, right? Then you get the quest, you have here contract, you have 3 days to do it. As you can see up here, and the reward will be 420 crowns. There are other ways to accept a contract. Before accepting it, you can ask him what I should expect. And then you can go to what's the reward, and you can say, I need more. So there are two things that can happen here. One bad thing and one good thing. You might get the same contract where he offers you 550 crowns instead of 420, but you only have 1 day to complete it. Or offer you 480 crowns, but you will take a reputation hit. And I think this last one is the bad one. So let's try. We go, I need more. And here we got the good one. You have a single day to fulfill the contract, get 550 crowns. And now you have the same contract, but you have instead 1 day to do it and 550 crowns. We're here again and we ask what's the reward. And we say, I need more. See? And then he'll be fine, I'll oblige you. 480 crowns is the final offer. And you can see that you still got 3 days to do it. You get a bit more gold, but this is not worth because you lose 50 reputation from haggling. If you're gonna try and get the 1 day contract for more gold, you should always save beforehand. In case you get the bad one and you lose reputation, you can just load up your save and try again. Once you have started your contract, to know where you have to go, when you open the map, you see this yellow shield over here. This is where you have to go to fulfill the contract. Your gear will lose durability throughout your game. You always need to remember to repair it. The punishment for not repairing your armor or weapon before it gets broken like this is that you lose the benefits it gives you. This armor is supposed to have 1 protection, but now I have 0 because it's broken. Physical resistance goes from 5 to 1%, so on and so forth. You have to be really careful to repair everything. If you're ever out and about and you get ambushed like this and you feel like you cannot take the fight, you can always transition the map and run away. As long as the enemies are 6 tiles away from the edge of the map, they shouldn't follow you. Beware though, when you transition a map, they will move 1 step closer because it takes a turn. But here, let's rest. So I can prove to you that he doesn't come. We can skip some points, some turns, and he doesn't come. And now, if we go here and we tell him we're here again, well, there's 2 of them. You can even use this to separate people. So we see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we skip a turn. Now he's 6. So when I go here, he will come. But he, the spearman, shouldn't come. Let's test this. Let's just go a few steps back. I feel like he's going to come. So there he is. First guy came. And then we're going to attack. And the spearman never came, as you can see. Knocking back enemies into objects, like trees, tables, walls, will daze them. It will have this little bubble effect around the character, and if you inspect them, you will see they will have the daze effect, which makes them miss and fumble much more, as well as having less control resistance and less move resistance, and apparently also a harder time swimming. Beware though, as the same rule applies to you. If you are knocked back into anything, you will become dazed. So always be wary of what you have behind and try to not fight with an object behind you. I'll give you 2 tips in one here. First of all, always be sure to inspect your enemies. You can shift and click to inspect an enemy. You can see how much health they have, how much energy they have, and their will to fight. You can see the effects that you have implemented into them or that they have implemented into themselves. In this case, I've given them a leg injury and I've made them bleed. This is a nice way to also see their abilities and all the stats. And the other tip is that if you know that someone is going to die, or that you don't need to get into melee range or give any advantage to your enemy, you shouldn't. It's always better to fight to your advantage. So here I could just keep running and he will die from bleeding and I will have my cooldowns back for this guy. 1 more and I have my cooldowns here. I can just hit them again and he dies and I took 3 damage. After saving Osbrook from this band of treacherous bandits, we see we have taken some damage. The first damage is the great part of our HP, which will be recovered easily by just hugging our legs. You rest and it will recover. However, when a body part takes damage, it reduces your maximum HP as well. That's why instead of 100, we have 92 right now. Body part damage can also be healed by resting, but it takes much longer. And usually when you're in a dungeon or you know you're going to get into imminent combat, you should use medicine to fix it. We can check here. My torso is damaged and my left hand is damaged. The body parts that affect your max HP reduction the most are the torso and the head. So you should always try to keep those at 100%. Obviously try to keep everything at 100%, but sound is a great way to lure enemies, kill them 1 by 1. You can shout, but shouting is risky because you don't know who lurks in the shadows. If you see one enemy and you have something to throw or you're an archer, you can attack close to them and they will investigate the sound. Again, I can do it here. Well, now he saw me. and I can just run away. Once I feel safe that no one else will help the enemy, I can turn and kill him. There are a few items that I think you can get early that will help in combat. One of them is the net. You can throw the net to enemies and it will immobilize them. You can use this 3 times until it breaks, but you usually want to use it 2 times so you can repair it afterwards and use it again. Now I can throw this to him, and as you can see, he will be immobilized. And that made the combat much easier. Another item that is also useful to make combat much easier is the bottle of oil. You can throw this to an enemy and they will have covered in oil status, which makes them much more susceptible to fire if you are a pyromancer, but also a much higher chance of fumbling and a much higher chance of backfiring. Here I'm being chased by a bandit and 2 dogs, and I know this is a fight I wouldn't win, but luckily in dungeons there is a way to reset and rest. Enemies will not follow you outside of the dungeon, and you can just come out here and I can reload, you can rest. Once you go in again, depending on how long you have been out here, how many turns have passed, enemies will have not moved at all if no turns have passed, or will have been back to their own original position. Well, be careful, because enemies can come from out of the dungeon inside the dungeon. So if you come out of a crypt and there is a goal, going back in will make him follow you. Sometimes when the enemies don't have enough perception, you can use traps to your advantage. Zombie here doesn't have enough perception to know there's a trap here, or doesn't know there's a trap here. So if we just skip a turn, he will step on the trap. And you can use that to your advantage. And now he has a severe leg injury and he's bleeding already and has lost half HP. And that makes combat much easier. There is not really a way to check if the enemy you're facing has enough perception or knows if the trap is there without testing it. So if you can get into position, do it, but don't get hit trying to get into position. Once we're done with the dungeon and we have fulfilled the contract, there are 3 different ways to give in a contract. As you can see in the map, there are 3 places where you can give it in. The first way to give in a contract to caravan deem. So this guy during daytime, it's here on the mill, but during the night or the evening, he will be in the Drunken Woodsman Inn. So giving the contract to this guy will give you the same amount of gold, 550. In my case, because I took the 1-day contract, reputation with Usbrook, and reputation with Bryn as well. So if you already want to start working towards your Bryn reputation, you want to give it to this guy. And then here you see you get 320 Usbrook reputation and you get 112 Bryn reputation. You can also give your contract in the roadside tower right here. You need to go in here. The good thing about giving your contract in here in the roadside tower is that you get a few extra crowns. If you're short on money or if you don't really need the reputation yet, then you can just come here and get more crowns. I got 688 crowns and the reputations that I've gotten is 320 to Usbrook and 16 to Bryn. Finally, if you go back to Odar, you can give in the contract and here you will get 550 crowns, but you, instead of getting an extra bump to Bryn's reputation, you'll get an extra bump to Usbrook's reputation. I've gotten, instead of 320 that we got before, we got 400 and we got only 20 reputation with Bryn. If you're looking for the Carpenter's plane, it's always in one of these 2 squares. Underneath the Drunken Woodsman Inn, and in these 2 places, it will always spawn. You can just get close and you will get a point of interest. So if I go here, they're here. And here you have it. You can read the note as well to give some experience. Take the loot, and then you can go back to the carpenter. Once you're done with the first quest and killed the first mini-boss in the first dungeon, you can continue the story by doing the brewery quest. After this quest, you will unlock the caravan, but it is a very hard fight. But there is a way to make this fight much simpler. First of all, you need to talk to the mayor. You need to talk to Odar and tell him that you're done with the first task. And then you need to always choose the first option. You need to have information, all the information you can about the brewery, and at the end you finish with I'm on it. Once you have talked to Odar, we can go ahead and talk to the carpenter. The carpenter doesn't like Odar. Not very much. He has a few things to say about the fella. So once you're here, you can tell him that you're not fan of the Elder. And again, first option all the way. You're welcome to read this if you care about it. Once you've talked to Odar and gotten as much information about the brewery from him, and then talk to the carpenter and gotten as much information about Dwar from him, you will have unlocked an extra option of conversation with the carpenter. You can tell him about Dwar, and then you go on with the dialogue. and then you offer to pay him. But don't worry, we will not pay him. You can choose option 3, where we help him with something. As I mentioned in the section before in this video, we got the plane and I showed you where to get it. Every time it's the same place. So you go and get it, and then you go on with this dialogue. And then you give it to him. And then you just go with option 1 all over again. Wait, not that much. And that's how you unlock the alternative ending for the brewery. So let's see what changed. Once you reach the brewery, Barm here will approach you. And since we talked to the carpenter, we talked to the mayor, we got the plane for the carpenter, and we got all the information we could, there's an extra dialogue option here, which is the first one. If you wouldn't have done any of this and just follow through with others' plan, you only have number 2, number 3 options. But now since we did all that, we have number 1. And we just go 1 again. And we make a deal to get rid of others' mercenaries that are trying to attack this place, or others bandits that are trying to attack this place, and we get a cart and 2 horses in return. So right now our objective has changed. As you can see, it's here now where we have to go to find other thugs, and the fight has gotten significantly easier. Once we reach a place where other thugs are, we can just go ahead and kill them. Once you're done killing all the thugs, you can loot around. Don't forget to go in the house and read the note for some extra experience, and the chest here, and you can actually sleep in here as well. After that, we just go back to the brewery and we talk to Kron. We tell him that the brigands are dead, and you get a barrel of beer as well. Once you're done with the brewery quest, you have to come back to Other and you have to talk to him. You go option 1 all the time. If you sided with the brewery, then you should stop at this dialogue and you should choose here. The issue with choosing the first one is that you lose 600 reputation. 650 actually, because you lose 50 regardless because of the dialogue choices we have made. There's no choice, you have to lose those 50. Or you can choose 500 crowns and just not take sides. You got your cart, your horses, and you get 500 crowns. And this will only make you lose 200 reputation plus the 50 we talked about. I always go with this one. Unfortunately, you do have to give in this quest if you want to forward the story and if you want to get your caravan. So you will have to, if you want the easier fight, you'll have to lose a 250 reputation, but you get 500 crowns. There is a way to speed up the game. If you have ever seen me stream, or if you just watched this video, you would have realized that I speed up the game. This is possible, but you will require an external tool called Cheat Engine. And once you download it, install it, beware to not install any of the shit that the installer wants you to install, decline everything. And then once you have installed it, go up here and then you can look for Stoneshard right here. You click on open and it's really easy. You just have to go here. You see there is a enable speed hack. You click and then you can choose the speed. Usually I go around 3 to 4, but if I write 3 here, which is what I normally have on, you see the game has sped up, everybody's moving like faster and travel time will take less. There's another thing that some people use, which is the numpad. You can use 8, 4, 2 and 6 on the numpad to move your character without using the mouse. You can probably remap these keys to WASD, play it like that. Sometimes it's good to just take a break. Sit down here next to the fire, pet the cat, eat some snackies, and chill for a bit. If you keep dying in a dungeon, go explore somewhere else. Game takes time. It's a very ruthless and hard game, and you should not feel demoralized for dying. It's all part of a learning experience.